Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to do this video for you guys. This is, in fact, the first Epiphone guitar I've ever had on my channel. This is the Silverburst Epiphone Les Paul Custom. Let's get into it. So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name is Ray. I'm a guitar player here on YouTube, and I apologize for snubbing and sleeping on Epiphone for so long. And, I owe it to you guys to finally do some Epiphone content, and I'm just excited, man. So if you're brand new to my channel, or you're a returning viewer and you've yet to hit that subscribe button, which according to my analytics, it's like give or take 70% of you guys don't subscribe but watch. Help me out, man. You know what I mean? Just help me out. Just subscribe. It's down there. You guys know how it works, man. It would just mean a lot. And on a serious note, just thank you in advance. It doesn't go unnoticed. And yeah, just help me out. I appreciate you. So now, Epiphone. I have a checkered past with Epiphone. Something crazy, but I've always kind of, like I said in the intro, slept on Epiphone. Reason being is because I kind of like Gibson. You know what I mean? Like I'm very lucky enough to have played several Gibsons and been able to purchase some myself. So Epiphone was always just something that was, I don't know, just something that I never really paid attention to, just because I really don't know why, if I'm being honest. I have no idea why. But I'm rectifying that situation, and I'm changing all of that right now, and we're going to be talking about this awesome Silverburst Les Paul Custom. So I picked this thing up at my local Wilmington, Delaware Guitar Center. Shout out Wilmington, Delaware. Arguably the most exciting place to ever visit, according to Wayne's World. That is Delaware. Anyway, when I saw this was in stock, I had to have it. I love Silverburst. I love Les Pauls. It just made sense. And honestly, the main reason why I wanted to pick this up is, in fact, the inspired by Gibson sort of vibe that these Epiphones have. Reason being is because I'm showing you the headstock. The Epiphone headstock back in the day just always looked off, right? I can't even really remember what it looked like, but I just know, like, it didn't look right, you know what I mean? But the fact that this headstock exists now, this newer, inspired by Gibson headstock, new Epiphone headstock, whatever you want to call it, it just looks right, man. Another thing that looks right is, in fact, the ebony board. These things finally have ebony boards. Epiphone Les Paul Customs have always been kind of a thing, for the most part, from my recollection. But yeah, dude, just the fact that now this guitar actually has an ebony board and doesn't have like a laurel or a rosewood or anything that was like a little bit brown in tone and brown in color, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is it looks right, and it just apart from the name Epiphone, if you didn't pay attention, you would think this would be a Gibson visually. But although the specs and the visuals look well and good, how does it sound? Well, we're about to find out. So this guitar is tuned to drop C sharp. I'm going to be using the Powered by Omega Grandifier plugin in a demo song. And then for a playthrough, I'll be using the Abbasi suite from Neural DSP. Yeah, dude, just going to riff out, do a quick little demo song, do some cleans, do some leads, come back and wrap up this video and say to you guys, hey, do I think Epiphone is worth it in 2021, or do I think it's kind of just not for me, and is Gibson the better of the two in terms of which option would I personally choose? I'm going to answer all that right now, but first, let's jam out, shall we? So let's get into everything that I just said right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we think? Well, my own honest opinion. If you would have asked me about Epiphone in any other year other than 2021, I would say no. But I'm here to tell you, me in 2021 is a big, big fan of Epiphone, and especially Epiphone Les Paul Customs. Yeah, everybody, I'm so excited. I'm so pleased with my purchase. I've had this guitar for give or take two and a half weeks. And yeah, man, it's great. I can't believe how great this guitar feels. But I will start with the negatives. The negatives with this guitar are as follows. There's like 1.5/2. Is this guitar a 1-for-1 replica and or replacement for a Gibson Les Paul Custom? In my honest opinion, no. And it's pretty much night and day in terms of Gibson to Epiphone. But that's okay. You could buy about 6 or 7 of these things before you bought one Gibson. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying this guitar doesn't feel in the hands like a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 guitar. There's just something the way the strings feel and the way that they interact with the fretboard, and this guitar just feels like an import model, because obviously it is, right? The frets are a little rough. They need a polishing. You know, it just has that feel of an import model, higher end import model. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but I'm just trying to paint the picture of, you know, although I love this thing, it is certainly not better in my opinion, better in my opinion than a Gibson Les Paul Custom. Another thing that is kind of a negative is the ProBucker pickups. They sound okay, they scream, they chug a little, but it's a little bit lacking. And I think what's okay about them being lacking, I guess, is if I want to replace them or if I want to swap them out, I can do it with no problem whatsoever. In the sense that, like, I have no problem swapping them out because I don't want to keep this guitar original. Gibsons, generally speaking, I always just feel like a little hesitant to like replace things, because then it's not as like original and pristine, you know, like that comic book nerdness or like action figures in the boxness. As soon as you tamper with something, it's like lost its value. But anyway, although these pickups aren't exactly my favorite, I could certainly upgrade them and have no like mental moral debate about, oh, should I do it? I'm gonna swap these out and probably honestly throw in some EMGs, but just stock the pickups just aren't necessarily my own personal favorite vibe with the guitar's sound. But apart from that, man, there are a ton of positives with this guitar. First off, just the overall QC, man. I was really trying to find some imperfections, and I honestly really can't at all. There's no dings, there's no real major tool marks. I mean, there's kind of some smaller ones here on the fretboard, but nothing major, dude. I mean, the finish is great, the action is great, the playability is great. It just feels like a really quality instrument. And although these are made in China, you know, that matters to some, doesn't matter to me. But regardless, man, it just has such a quality feel to it and a quality playability to it. It feels great. It's a great guitar. And one final positive, I'll just say it again, man, just the overall look with this guitar. As I said in the intro in the beginning of this video, if it didn't say Epiphone, man, you would think this is a Gibson. It just looks right. The fretboard, the block inlays, the silver burst, the headstock, the shape of the headstock, the binding, all the above, man. It feels great and it looks great. So I'm so happy and so pleasantly pleased with my purchase of this Epiphone Les Paul Custom. So all in all, everybody, will I buy another Epiphone in the future, and or would I recommend one to you guys? Honestly, yes, 1000%, absolutely. I think the main reason why I would recommend one is, in fact, the price point. This was $679. Now, that's expensive. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money, right? But in comparison to even like a Gibson just standard $24.99, that is like over double this price. That's like 3 times the price of this one. So all I'm trying to say is, like, you get so much more bang for your buck and so much more for your money with this guitar. The only thing you're not buying is the name on the headstock, and that's kind of like an unwritten rule, and kind of like just a lesson that I always have to constantly keep in the back of my mind and tell myself. You know, I'm one for always buying brand name stuff. I'm guilty of that, whether it's guitars or not. But in guitar land, I initially would always buy a Gibson over an Epiphone. You know, I told you guys that. And that's not necessarily a good thing to be proud of, or a good habit, or a good character trait. I'm just being honest. This is how I am. But honestly, the fact that, like I said, one more time, if you didn't know this wasn't a Gibson, you might not be able to tell until you like actually dove in and really like put it under a microscope. So all in all I'm trying to say is, I hope this makes sense, but all I'm trying to say is this guitar is great, man. It's really, really great. And I am sincerely pleased and happy with everything that this guitar has to offer, especially for the price. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here. That's everything I could share with you guys with this guitar. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you're brand new to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I love you guys so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. I'll see you guys next time. Later.